Is Parting's PvT unbeatable? Is Serral truly the GOAT? And if he is a GOAT, would he be considered a mountain GOAT or a domesticated GOAT? For the answer to all of these questions, be sure to stay tuned to this episode of StarCraft Today.
StarCraft Today. Your favorite StarCraft news show.
Last week we saw the return of the old Serral in the DreamHack Masters seasonal finals fall. Serral showed a fantastic performance, starting in group stage, Group D, with Trap, Haas and Zaun, only dropping a single map to Zaun. Now the bracket was set and Serral had to play against Hero Marine. Above him was Bunny versus Time. Bunny managed to take out Time in probably the best series of the entire playoffs. The rest of the series, to be fair, weren't that great, but that series between Bunny and Time really was something else, and I'm not even a big TVT fan. Serral versus Hero Marine, however, was not quite as exciting, unless of course you're a very big Serral fan or your family of Serral. Then that game was really exciting. Serral absolutely destroying Hero Marine 3-0, never really having any problems in any of the games. Sometimes perhaps looked like Hero Marine had a window, but Hero Marine never truly managed to push through and get a lot of damage on or get in a big lead. On the bottom side of the bracket, we saw Parting versus Clem. And for Clem, this was extremely important to finally beat a top Korean Protoss in a very important tournament. But once again, sadly, he did not manage to do it. Parting took him out with some, Parting-esque gameplay, of course, lots of Blink Stalkers, some 4-gate Blink Stalker stuff as well, and honestly some really solid control into the mid game with quick robo openers as well, which is something we haven't seen in a while. They kind of fell out of fashion, Parting bringing them back lately, not only against cheesy openers, but apparently also in more standard games. Then the final match of the quarterfinals was played between Trap and Dark, where Trap honestly kind of walked over Dark. One-sided fashion, Dark not looking up to speed for whatever reason in this particular series. I think Dark looked pretty good in the rest of the tournament, and I was impressed by Dark's performance recently in general, so it surprised me a little bit to see Trap just kind of easily beat him, especially after Trap had lost to Serral in the group stage already, and Trap didn't look super strong there. The semifinals, Serral versus Bunny. Once again, Serral absolutely being dominant from start to finish. It just a really clean 3-0, honestly, and Bunny not really having much to say in that entire match. The bottom side, we had Trap versus Parting, and Trap, for I believe the 9th time this year, managed to reach a final of a premier tournament after taking out Parting 3-1. Serral, on the other hand, only been in 5 finals this year, and now he won his second one as he managed to take out Trap as well in the finals 4-0. Once again, absolutely dominant performance. The Finn showing why in 2018 he was by far the greatest player, and if he can keep the shape that he is currently in, he is just going to be the number one contender every single tournament he goes into. A small note perhaps to be made there is that it seems that Serral actually struggles a little bit more with 2 Europeans than he does with most Koreans. And those 2 Europeans are Raynor and Clem. Serral dodged Clem this tournament and, technically also dodged Raynor, but Raynor couldn't even play the tournament because he didn't manage to qualify for this. But usually when Serral plays against one of these 2, the games at least look a little bit closer than what it did in the past tournaments. Of course, it's impossible to say what would have happened if he had met Clem in the shape that he is currently in, but I'd like to believe that Clem would have given him a little bit more of a run for his money than Bunny and Hero Marine did. Of course, we also had the GSL continue on last week. Group C, Rogue, Zaun, Cure and DRG went into a group, and perhaps surprisingly, Zaun got last place in that group. The Korean Protoss that was doing so well recently in online tournaments and also in offline tournaments, or there's really no offline tournaments, but in the bigger major or premier tournaments. Disappointing performance against DRG, losing to him, not something a lot of people expected perhaps. Rogue and Cure, just slightly stronger players than the other 2 in the group. But still, some people perhaps hoped or wanted or thought that Zaun could win. Not quite the case. This meant that the bracket for the GSL round of 8 was set as well. And the first 2 matches have been played as well. Zest versus Dream, which was a series in which Dream decided to just get cheesing. He opened with a similar barracks factory before CC opener every single game, making sure that the barracks was never in the wall, and then tried to play some type of mind game. Personally, I was a little bit disappointed. It felt like Dream just died every single game before the game truly got started. While he showed some fantastic TVP play in the group stage against SOS, it just didn't happen this time around, and Zest just walked over him after having really easy early games every single time. 3-1 to Zest. The second match was an extremely entertaining series, actually. Once again, Rogue versus Dark delivering in the GSL as it went all the way. 3-2 in the end. Rogue just a little bit too strong for Dark, who had a rough week, losing to Trap and then also going down against Rogue, but actually an absolutely amazing series. So the first semifinal is set with Zest versus Rogue, and the next two matches in the GSL will be Trap versus Maru and Cure versus Parting. This week's game of the week is going to be Parting versus Clem on Lightshade. What started with an eBay block and a 1.5 base Cyclone push, which semi-failed but also didn't completely fail, turned into a 17-minute slugfest. Explosive action all over the map, which is to be expected between these two players who love to play aggressively. Ended up with Parting winning, but honestly, even if you're a Terran fan, I think you can enjoy this. The amount of skill in this game, once again a Parting game. Parting really does create just fun games with his aggressive and base tradey playstyle, and this was no different. For this week's Zoom In, we're going to be having a look at the 2 runs of UThermal in the ESL Open Cups, and these are not going to be in the regions that you might have expected them in. As on Sunday, UThermal decided, you know what, I think I can just play in the Korean one, and he did, taking out Max Packs and Special, 2 top-tier players in the foreign scene, before losing to Hero in the semifinals, but securing himself a decent top 4. Then he decided the day after, you know what, I think I can repeat that little trick in America as well, taking out Skillless, Max Packs, and Nice before losing to Zest in the finals. And this run is indicative of that UThermal was getting back into top shape, the type of shape that perhaps he had in 2016 when he won a Premier tournament in the foreign scene. Maybe not good enough yet to take on the Koreans all the time, but definitely good enough to be on top of the foreign scene. We already discussed the Open Cups a little bit, but there were 3 cups, and the cups did go on after UThermal fell out of the tournaments as well. So let's have a look at what happened in Korea. UThermal managing to get to the semifinals, as mentioned before, where he ended up losing to Hero. Hero met up with Zest in the finals, and guess what? Zest took out Hero 3-0. Then in America, we saw the UThermal versus Zest final, and once again, Zest managed to take out his opponent 3-0. That's 2 cup wins already there for Zest. In Europe, there was no Zest in the finals as he already got taken out by Hero Marine in the semis. Hero Marine went on to play Clem in the finals, but Clem just a little bit too strong for him this time around. Big Gabe didn't get much more than a single map. Clem once again claims another ESL Open Cup, and he's won a Crapton already at this point, so I'm not that surprised. For this week's clip of the week, we have a gamer who got a little bit upset after losing to a Protoss player.
They have to run from the Disruptor Novas, the Archons, the Carriers, the Zealots reinforcing. It is just a little bit too much, and we are going to see Trap go up 2-0 after a non-stop action game there.
With a couple of incredibly close battles. And Dark definitely looked...
Very powerful dash smash there out of Dark, who honestly used proper technique as well, and we even saw a little bit of a camera shake, so I'd rate it a solid 9.5 out of 10. That's going to be it for this episode of StarCraft Today, but not before we answer a very important question. I personally believe that Serral would be a mountain goat, and not because I think he is a mountain goat, but I think because someone with as much power as him just can be domesticated, so can be a domesticated goat. That's going to be it for this week in StarCraft Today, and I don't know why I speak sometimes. Bye bye.